What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. Today we wrapped up day 2 of the official launch. It's been absolutely amazing, so much fun. I'm around level 25. I've seen already people pushing level 28. If you've been following along and watching my guides, refreshing efficiently, you should be around this level to be on curve. Hopefully we can hit 35 by day 4, things like that. If you guys have been re-rolling, if you've been playing a little more casually, that's okay. But I still want to help guide you to level as efficiently as possible and waste as few resources as well. And I've been getting asked a lot on like where exactly to level, right? So when you hit these breakpoints, when you hit these areas where you can't progress anymore in the story, and you hear like myself or other content creators say, hey, don't level too much in like low level thresholds because the modules, the gears, it's not worth farming, then where the heck do I farm to level up? Well, that's what this guide's going to be about. I want to continue and help you guys level as efficiently as possible. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll break it all down, even including how people got up to 28 and why or why not you might want to save these stamina capsules. All right. So thank you again, guys, and let's get to it. Well, first things first, since I already mentioned the stability, the stamina capsules here, let's go ahead and talk about why or why not you want to use these. The reason I'm stockpiling as many as I can right now, while at least maintaining a good account level, to try to still hit 35 by day 4-ish and just get to that end game content even sooner. And that's because in the open beta, the final beta that ended around like 2.5 weeks ago, Etheria actually brought out a buff event, meaning in a lot of other games, you kind of see this where they'll give you bonus drops, bonus loot, bonus XP. And it was very crazy. I don't remember if it was double. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was significant. And let's say it is double. You get double the drops, which means our efficiency on using stability is crazy. So day 1, I shouldn't say day 1, but the first day of this event, which should happen around a week and maybe a few days from now, it's going to be like bonus investigation drop. So for farming your XP, it's going to be crazy. Next up, after that, if I remember correctly, it was GP outposts. And if you guys have been farming these to upgrade your characters, you know how many of these dang things you need. So it's going to be really beneficial to store some of these capsules if you can. Additionally, the last one was probably the craziest, especially for those of you that want to start farming some speed gear and things like that, which, speaking of, let me open up Doki then. If you guys can this is why I'm trying to get y'all to level up efficiently and at least reach the hell area by the time, this event rolls around. It's because this is where you want to be farming the highest tier possible that you can farm to start getting the highest quality gear, right? This mythic gear for the good drops. Because if you get bonus drops, I was sometimes getting like 2 pieces of gear per run, and they were all like mythics, Swift Rush. It was very, very nice. So you don't want to save everything. If you guys need to use some stability capsules, let's say you're a little bit behind, you want to reach those nice breakpoints to start unlocking new content, progressing your hyperlink charters and things like that, then go ahead and use some. But keep that in mind that you want to use these after you use the Hydra Crystals every day, right? So use your Hydra Crystals 10 refreshes and try to stockpile a few of these if you can. Now, you don't want to be stockpiling everything, guys, right? Don't stockpile everything, like all your gems and all your stability capsules, because if you're so far behind you can't even unlock or access the higher tier content, you're going to be stuck there. You might have a ton of stability, ton of energy, but you'll be farming low level stuff that's not worth it. All right, so just be aware of that. It's coming up pretty soon, hopefully, if they keep it the same, which I wouldn't imagine. I don't know why they would not bring out that buff event. So let's break down exactly where and when you should be farming at all points of the game. Even if you're a lower level than me, actually, especially if you're lower level than me, we can go ahead and discuss. I mentioned in the last video that hyperlink charter should be your overall guide, right? You should be checking these all the time, completing all of these that are possible, because this is the best way, the most way to be efficient, and it's a good guide on where you should be progressing, spending your resources. Now, there will be a point where, you're locked out of stuff, like you can't go to certain areas because they're level locked, and you don't want to be farming too long in the thresholds because myself or another content creator told you that it's bad to farm low level thresholds. My advice in the last video was to go ahead and just farm things like the GP outpost and the investigation, because while these are these are always going to be good to power up your characters, and unlike gear drops, you're not going to replace them quickly. They're just permanent upgrades for your character. Now, there's one other mode that I want to talk about that is very beneficial as well, for if you need a place to just grind some XP for your count levels, and that is in the achievement section. If you go here into battle, and I want to talk about this because this is where I spend a lot of time as well. today to get to up to 25, up to level 20, those kind of breakpoints. And you're going to see here, there's going to be like, they ask you to kill these shell bosses up to 60 times. Some of them are only 10, some of them are up to 60. And the reason this is okay to farm like low tier shell bosses, unlike gear drops, is because the rewards, I shouldn't have exited out yet. Let me see if I can find some rewards here. The rewards you get for doing these are like this training data, which is still beneficial to level higher tier shells, where if you're getting gear, right, throwing that gear away or putting that into other higher tier gear is just very, very inefficient, and you probably want to be leveling that gear. It's just overall not great when you're farming for low tier module drops, the gear drops themselves. But these training data, you're going to need so many of these when you start farming higher tier shells, especially mythics. And so might as well knock these out while you have nothing else to do. So when you hit those breakpoints where you can't get into the next story, when you just need to farm something to progress, I think knocking these out, take a look at the achievements in this battle, specifically the shell farming, because you don't want to be farming these when you're higher level. Not necessarily. You want to be farming the high tier bosses. You can go ahead and knock these out, these clear 60 times, to go and start getting this training data, because trust me, you're going to need a ton of these for late game shells and just grinding shells. It's a huge, huge resource grind. Just take my word for it. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual bosses that I'm talking about here. If we go into the shell area, they're going to want to kill, like, ask you to clear 10 times your Kess, 60 of Shadowrunner, 60 of Pate, 60 of Karuru. So we're going to start knocking those out. And the nice thing is, too, some of these modules, some of these shells are very, very nice as kind of like holdover until you start hitting the juicy shells, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But this is, I think, another option if you don't want to be farming too much of the GP outpost. If you did a lot of that, if you got a lot of XP already, go ahead and take a look at those achievements when you can. And it's future-proofing as well as also progressing your account level on top of it. So while we're talking about shells, let me give some quick recommendations. It's not an end-all be-all guide, but some of the shells that I found very useful are some like this, the Budo Panda. I know some people did like the Tamamo Doji just as a straight attack up for your DPS carries. If you find any of these, you can go ahead, since you're going to be farming a lot of this Ape to clear the achievements, you can go and use those on your DPS carries. In Karuru, there's things like the Star, which if you use any units that have long cooldowns, for me, it's units like Valerian. Anyone that wants to cycle their skills quicker, there's a lot of units like that for your supports. This is a good shell to kind of hold you over until future ones. And finally, guys, now some of y'all may not be here yet if you're still lower level, because this is quite difficult, especially to clear a Nightmare. I think a lot of y'all can clear hard mode. And the good news is two of the best ones in this area, the Twilight Knight and Black Flag, are available. But really try to push yourself and see if you can clear this the Nightmare mode, because the drop chance, I believe, is much higher here to get these Twilight Knight, these epics of Twilight Knight, Black Flag, as well as the Diamond Heart. Now, I always talked about Nico Nana in previous guides because you start getting these really, really high quality mythics like the White Fang. But Fabian is actually one of the best like middle ground stepping stones. And since I was talking about, you know, a lot of people are struggling to find places to farm, this is one good area to just sit your butt down and farm a lot of this. This Twilight Knight is so dang good on your best carry, your DPS unit, because not only if, let's say, your defense breaker died or your defense breaker is on cooldown, this Twilight Knight will just proc right before your DPS, your hyper carry takes a turn, land a defense break themselves, do some damage, and then your character goes in and gets to do bonus damage because it defense broke, your shell defense broke, and did all that on their own. It's like having an additional party member. Very, very good. Now, Black Flag is amazing as well. This thing is just you're gonna throw this on any of your support units, your speed units, your utility units, and it's just a generic but very high value supporter shell that you can throw on. I've been using this on a lot of characters like Marvel, Frey. You can throw this on a lot of different characters, especially in PvP, and it's a good investment. Now, even when you start getting to the Mythic, once we start hitting higher levels like 35 for Nico Nana, you're still going to be using these Twilight Knights and Black Flags for a long while until you really farm those mythics, and then you can kind of toss these down to your next set of units, maybe your second string, maybe your best unit has the mythics, and then your next unit has Black Flag. They're still good, they're still worthwhile, and I highly recommend when you guys are farming this for the achievements, you try and gather some good matrices of Twilight Knight and then the Black Flag. I have seen some people use Diamond Heart, but personally, I prefer to wait for higher tier for this one, and instead just focus on these two in particular. Now, hopefully by now I did mention this Fabian Phoebe fight is quite difficult, but I'll be showing you some footage, both to highlight the Twilight Knight and how it works and why I think you guys should farm it. But additionally, I wanted to show you guys what team I'm using, and if you do get stuck, not just on this Fabian stage, but in previous, I know a lot of people are getting stuck on Kururu hard, maybe Teramaton hard 3, Doki 3. Anywhere you get stuck, guys, do me a favor. If you can't stop by my live stream to get help from me directly in real time, what you can do on your own is click this book icon. This is available on every single mode, but you click this little book and you can see what other people are using to clear. Now, this might be obvious to some of y'all, but you'd be surprised at how many people didn't know it was even there. Now, when you open this up, you'll see 2 areas. Clear time is what's going to actually pop up first. And this is kind of just the fastest clears that are on record. Go ahead and don't pay too much attention to this because these are probably like hyper efficient teams with very, very good units. Instead, go to recent clear, and this is going to be more accurate of just random players, everyday players that got something done, right? You're going to see 3-minute clears, 1-minute clears, 2.5-minute. This is more indicative of people that just threw what they had and it still worked, right? And you can even watch a replay here if you wanted to see exactly what they did, but you can check the gear. You can check the skill enhancements. You can check everything. This is a great mode. Get used to it. Start using it. But what you also want to do is, if you're stuck, is go ahead and just start scrolling through the recent clears and start identifying teams with units you have available. This is my exact team right here with the Leanne Gray Frey Marvel. I use this for like 80% of the content. One of my core teams. All free to play, accessible, very, very easy units to get, right? No light and dark Apex characters. But once again, go ahead and make use of this mode and get used to using it. It's very, very beneficial. Lastly, let me leave you guys with a bonus tip here. Since we talked a lot about shelf farming, some of you guys may not know this, but I advise y'all to start farming these Twilight Knights, and I raved about how good this is. Well, let's say you start farming, and since the drop rate, if you guys can see here, I don't have too many yet. I just started farming that Fabian shell drop. The Fabian boss, excuse me. We're going to get these slowly because a lot of times we get these unique, the purples instead of the epics. Well, if you find a drop and you want to start using the effects, but let's say it's not the, for example, right here, I have a Twilight Knight that I started leveling, but the effects aren't that great. Instead of waiting forever to find the perfect one you want, for example, for me, I'd probably want something like triple onslaught, triple harvest, 2 offensive bonuses for my DPS instead of swift rush. I would just want to max attack. And then let's say, for example, you also randomly roll a nice passive effect too. Well, don't worry, guys. You're not wasting time by leveling this, and you're not, you don't need to wait for the perfect drop. Let's imagine that this is triple onslaught, triple harvest, exactly what Carr said he wanted. We can go ahead and actually, if you guys didn't know this, there's an imprint feature. So let's say we finally find the Twilight Knight. Just imagine there's a 3rd onslaught bonus here. We can actually use the one that we've been leveling in the meantime, our placeholder, and actually transfer the star level, the passives, even that, epic passive I was showing y'all, and that's going to just throw this into the new perfect one we got. So go ahead and just, whenever you get a Twilight Knight, you can start using it immediately. No need to wait for the perfect drop to happen, but this is a feature that I think a lot of people do not see. So make sure you utilize this when you are shelf farming. All right, y'all, we'll wrap things up there. Thank you as always so much for watching. And those of you that have been able to stop by my streams, either on YouTube or Twitch, it was great to meet you guys. Hopefully you're having a blast as well. By the time y'all are watching this video, I might be live again, as I've been doing so many hours of Etheria, but it's amazing. It's been so much fun to meet a lot of y'all. And yeah, just check if I'm on. I have 3 guilds right now that are full up. If you need a guild, maybe I'll start a 4th one. Just stop by and say, Carr, I need a union, and we'll see if we get enough interest. But again, let's end it here. Thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.